Hey, if you run a CPA firm, you know this feeling, right? The pressure of tax season, it just never really seems to end, and your team is absolutely buried in those repetitive tasks. But what if there was a way to completely change that dynamic? Today, we're going to dive into a strategy that isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter to unlock your firm's real profitability. So let me ask you, does this feel familiar? That sensation of just drowning in a sea of compliance tasks? Your team is stretched thin, and all that high-value strategic work you want to be doing keeps getting shoved to the back burner. It's a super common problem, but the hidden cost is staggering. And we're not just talking about wasted time here. We're talking about lost opportunity.
You know, that feeling actually has a name. We call it the CPA profitability problem. And it all comes down to the essential can't-avoid-it compliance work that, well, it forms the bedrock of your entire firm.
Okay, picture this. Think of your firm's work like it's on a seesaw. On one side, you've got all that low-margin compliance stuff, bookkeeping, payroll, tax prep. It's essential for sure, but man, is it heavy. It just eats up your team's time and energy. Then on the other side, you have the high-margin advisory work, the juicy stuff, the client strategy that really fuels growth. The core problem is that the sheer weight of the compliance work is keeping the profitable side stuck up in the air. And this imbalance, it creates a nasty domino effect. First, your best people get totally burned out, which leads to high turnover. You're shelling out cash for overtime just to tread water. You find yourself having to say no to great new clients because you just don't have the capacity. And the biggest domino to fall, missing out on all those lucrative advisory opportunities that are just sitting there waiting for you.
So what do? The first instinct is always, let's hire more people, right? But that just inflates your overhead and doesn't solve the root problem. The real answer, the smarter strategy, is about shifting your firm's entire focus away from managing costs and toward capturing opportunity.
And this is exactly where that strategy comes to life. By outsourcing these key functions, you're not just offloading tasks, you're creating some serious leverage. Outsourcing accounting support gives your team their day back. Delegating payroll removes a ton of risk and headaches. Handing off tax prep lets you handle huge volumes without the stress. And getting clean, outsourced bookkeeping means you have the timely data you need to build those high-value advisory services.
Okay, so how does this actually translate into more money in the bank? Let's get into the mechanics of how it all works. All right, just look at this number for a second. 40 to 50%. Let that sink in. That is the reduction in internal workload that firms report after they put this strategy into place. I mean, seriously, just take a moment and think. What could your team actually achieve with half of their time back? This isn't just a small tweak, it's a complete game changer. This transformation happens through 5 steps that are all connected. First, it starts with lowering your overhead costs. That, in turn, frees up your team to focus on bringing in more revenue through advisory work. At the same time, you're improving your overall efficiency, which lets you scale up or down during busy season without overstaffing. And underpinning all of it, you're reducing the risk of making those costly little errors. Each step just builds on the last one, directly fueling your bottom line.
Of course, I know what you're thinking. It's the first question on every partner's mind, and it's a big one. Sure, I'm saving money, but am I going to sacrifice quality? And look, that is a 100% valid and critical concern.
The answer is no. In fact, the wild part is that quality often gets better. You see, the best outsourcing partners, they live and die by their processes. They operate on these highly structured workflows with multi-level quality checks that are all designed to ensure accuracy and consistency. Honestly, a lot of the time, this process-driven approach can lead to way fewer errors than a busy, overworked in-house system.
Now you're probably wondering, where does all this expertise come from? Well, for CPA firms here in the US, one country has become the undisputed, hands-down global hub for accounting talent.
And that's all thanks to the India advantage. It's this powerful combo of factors. You get access to a massive pool of highly skilled accounting professionals who are specifically trained in US standards. You get it at a cost that is incredibly effective. But you know, the real secret sauce is the time zone difference. Work you assign at the end of your day is completed and waiting in your inbox the next morning. It's like it creates a seamless 24-hour productivity cycle for your firm. All right, let's talk about the other big elephant in the room, security. I get it. Entrusting a third party with your client's sensitive financial data, that's a really big deal. And the answer here is an absolute yes. For any professional firm worth its salt, security is non-negotiable. Think of it like a digital armored car. All the work is handled through secure encrypted systems and tunnels. They operate under super strict confidentiality rules to make sure your firm's data and your client's data is completely protected every single step of the way.
So when you put it all together, this really isn't about cutting corners. It's about unlocking the potential that's currently trapped inside your firm. And the best part, the path to making this happen is probably a lot simpler than you might think.
Getting started is really just a straightforward 4-step process. First, you'd pinpoint the exact tasks that are bogging your team down. Second, you map out your current workflows to create a seamless handoff. Third, you integrate the offshore team, making them a true extension of your own. And finally, this is the fun part. You take all that new capacity and you focus your amazing in-house talent on the high-value, strategic work that actually grows the firm.
So, I want to leave you with this question. Let's forget about just surviving the next deadline for a minute. Instead, ask yourself this. What could your firm build with 50% more capacity? What new advisory services could you launch? How many more of your ideal clients could you bring on board? That is the real opportunity we're talking about here.